Hello students, this is the second part of video for chapter number 5 from history. So in previous video we have learnt about the two style, that is Trabeate and Arcuate. Now in this video we are going to learn the new topic, that is building temples, mosque and tanks. So temples and mosques were beautifully constructed because they were places of worship. Most of the people used to visit to worship the god, so it was beautifully constructed. They were also meant to demonstrate the power, wealth and devotions of the patron, as most probably the temples and mosques were built by the rulers. So this is a demonstration of what? Demonstration of their power and as well as their wealth, and even the devotion of the patron, because the king used to conquer the different regions. Now what they do, they generally also adopt and accept the god that was being worshipped in that particular region, and even they construct the temple of that particular god. So this way the king is accepted by the people itself. Take the example over here, the Raja Rajeshwara temple. An inscription mentions that it was built by King Raja Deva for the worship of his god, and God's name is Raja Rajeshwaram. Notice how the names of the ruler and the god are very similar. Raja Deva and Raja Rajeshwaram. The god's name was Raja Rajeshwaram. So the both names, you can see it was similar to each other. The king took the god's name because it was auspicious and he wanted to appear like God. In front of whom? In front of subject. It means whatever decision is taken by the king, it should be followed by the subject. So he want to appear like a god. So he is adopting this kind of auspicious name of God. Through the rituals of worship in the temple, one god, that is Raja Deva, honored another god, that is Raja Rajeshwaram. So one god is worshipping through the ritual and giving honor to the other god. So he is appearing himself like an god. The largest temple were all constructed by the kings. The other lesser deities in the temples were gods and goddesses of the allies and subordinate of the rulers. The temple was a miniature model of the world ruled by the king and his allies. As they worshipped their deities together in the royal temples, it seemed as if they brought the just rule of the gods on the earth. So most probably the largest temples were constructed by the kings, and the lesser deities in the temple, that is god and goddesses, were being built by the other rulers also. So temple is a miniature model of the world ruled by the king. So by constructing temple, he is showing the power and as well as wealth. As much as he is conquering, he is constructing the temple. So this is the way how they are showing their region, what they have conquered. Even they worship the deities together, the god which is being worshipped by the common people and even the god which is being worshipped by the ruler. So they are worshipping in the royal temple. So in short, they are bringing the god on the earth, the different gods on the earth by building a temple. Muslim sultans and Padshah did not claim to be incarnation of God, but Persian court chronicle described the sultan as the shadow of God. So here you can see that Muslim sultans and Padshah, they did not claim themselves as an incarnation. Incarnation means the avatar of God, but here they were being considered as the shadow of God by the Persian court chronicles. So they were, while they were writing down the history, they considered Muslim sultans and Persia as the shadow of the god. It means the representative of the god. And inscription in the Quwat al-Islam mosque explained that the god chose Alauddin as a king because he had the qualities of Moses and Solomon, the great lawgiver of the past. So here Quwat al-Islam mosque, there was one inscription found, and in that it was written the Alauddin was chosen by the God himself because he was having the quality of Moses and Solomon. He can rule the world. That kind of quality he is having, and he is considered as the lawgiver of the past. The greatest lawgiver and the architect was God himself. He created the world out of chaos and introduced order and as well as symmetry. Figure 7, you can see the plan of Jama Masjid built by Shah Jahan in his new capital at Shah Jahanabad between the year of 1650 to 1656. You can see here the Qibla, the direction towards the Mecca, where generally the Muslim people used to, whenever they pray, whenever they do the namaz, that is the way of worshipping the God in Muslim community. So whenever they pray, they face to the Qibla, that is the western side, and this region is known as Qibla, the direction which shows the Mecca. As each new dynasty came to power, kings wanted to emphasize their moral right to be a rulers. Constructing palaces of worship provided rulers with the chance to proclaim their close relationship with the god, especially important in an age of rapid political change. Rulers also offered patronage to learned and pious and tried to transform their capitals and cities into great cultural centers that brought fame to their rule and their realm. So what they used to do, as the new dynasty came in power, so king wanted their moral rights to be given to the rulers. So that emphasis was being done by the new dynasties and as well as king. Constructing palace, this was the solution what they have found. So while constructing palace, they were also providing a place to worship for, mainly for the rulers, and this shows that they were having that close relationship with the god, especially when the important age of rapid political change was happening. So this is the way how they are connecting themselves to the god. Even they were offering patronage to the learned and pious. So patronage means to help out to develop anything. So here they were patronizing the learned people and the pious, and they were trying to transform the capitals and the cities into the great cultural centers. So what will happen by helping out them or transforming their capitals and cities into the great cultural centers? They will get the fame, and even the region also will get the fame, and even the rulers also will get the fame because the region was developed under one particular ruler. So as they were gathering the fame, then if they are conquering the other regions, then they are accepted by the common people. So this is the way how they are becoming famous, by providing the things what is needed by subject or by developing the region which they have already conquered. Now importance of the waters, you can see the right hand side. The Persian terms abad, that is populated, prosperous, and abadi, that is flourishing, are both derived from the word that is ab. Ab meaning water. So generally we have learnt in that 6th standard also, where the huge population used to live, where they found the water. So they used to live there. So ab here means the water. So generally the population settled down near the water body. It was widely believed that the rule of a just king would be an age of plenty when the heavens would not withhold rain, at the same time making precious water available by constructing tanks and reservoirs was highly praised. Sultan Iltutmish won universal respect for constructing a large reservoir just outside Delhi Kuna. It was called the Hosai Sultani or the King's Reservoir. Can you find it on map 1 in chapter 3? Rulers often constructed tanks and reservoirs, big and small, for use by ordinary people. Sometimes these tanks or reservoirs were part of a temple, mosque. Note the small tank in the Jami Masjid in figure 7, or a Gurudwara, a place of worship and congregation for Sikh, that is given in figure 8. So figure 7 you can see here the central portion. Here you can see that is given, this portion is having water and even showing the direction towards the Mecca. So this is the way how they were building up the water body, and here you can see the Gurudwara, and they were having also the water body nearby the worshipping area. So figure 8 you can see which picture is this. Harmandir Sahib, the golden temple with the holy Sarovar, that is tank built by the rulers in Amritsar. So generally why do they build the tank? Here it is considered that it is believed that the rule of a just king would be an age of plenty when the heaven would not withhold the rain. Here they can say when the heaven is not able to hold the rain is occurring, and this rainwater is being held by or accumulated by the rulers. So to hold this water, to accumulate this water into one particular region, so rulers used to construct the tanks and even the reservoirs. So this was also this act was also a praiseful thing for the king. Kings were praised for this thing. Sultan Iltutmish won universal respect. Why? For constructing a large reservoir, and where he has constructed outside the Delhi Kuna. So it was also called as Hosai Sultani or the King's Reservoir. The rulers often constructed, as I said, they construct tanks and reservoirs, big or small, and generally it is used by the ordinary people in that particular region. Sometimes these tanks and reservoirs were also a part of a temple, as we can see the Gurudwara, the example it is given, and in the masjid also, the central portion what I have showed just now. So that is also a part, the tank is also a part of the worshipping centers. Why were the temples targeted? Because kings built temples to demonstrate their devotion to God and their power and as well as wealth. It is not surprising that when they attacked one another's kingdom, they often targeted these buildings. In the early 9th century, when the Pandyan king Sri Mara Sri Vallabha invaded Sri Lanka and defeated the king Sena I, that is in between 1831 to 1851, the Buddhist monk and chronicler Dhammakitty noted he removed all valuables, the statues of the Buddha made entirely of gold in the jewel palace, and the golden image in the various monasteries, all these he seized. The blow to the pride of Sinhalese rulers had to be avenged, and the next Sinhalese ruler, that is Sena II, ordered his general to invade Madurai, the capital of Pandyas. The Buddhist chronicler noted that the expedition made a special effort to find and restore the gold statue of Buddha. So, the next topic that we are going to read, that is why were the temples targeted. So why it is targeted, as we have already read that the kings used to build up large construction of a temple, large building of temple, and why they were constructing the temple, the big temples, to show their power and even though the wealth. In the past time they used to keep the treasure in the temples also, because that was the worshipping center. Nobody is going to loot, as they are worshipping the god over there. So who is going to loot the god? But here the other rulers, they used to target the temple when they are attacking any of the kingdom. In this way they attack king's power also, the demonstration what the temple shows, and even the wealth could be looted from the temple, because most probably the gods deities were all made up of gold. So here one such example is given. In early 9th century, the Pandyan king, his name was Srimara Srivallabha, he invaded Sri Lanka and defeated the king Sena, one in between this 2 year, that is 831 to 851. So about this incident, the Buddhist monk chronicler, his name was Dhammakiti, he has noted that, he has written about the incident, that the Pandyan king has removed all the valuables, mainly the statue of Buddha that was made entirely of gold in the jewel palace, and the golden images in the various monasteries. Everything was being seized by the Pandyan ruler. Now what happened? The blow to the pride of Sinhali ruler had to be avenged, and the next Sinhali ruler, that is Sena II, ordered his general to invade Madurai. Now they become angry, anyhow they have to give away the answer to this loot. So the next Sinhali's ruler, that was, his name was Sena II. So he has ordered his general to invade Madurai, that was the capital of Pandyas that time. So they invaded the Madurai. The Buddhist chronicle again noted that the expedition made a special effort to find and restore the gold statue of the Buddha. So mainly why they have targeted the Pandyan capital, to get back their golden statue of Buddha. Similarly, in the early 11th century, this is the second incident what we are going to read about. Similarly, in the 11th century, when the Chola king Rajendra I built a Shiva temple in his capital, he filled it with prized statue seized from defeated rulers, and an incomplete list included a sun pedestal from the Chalukyas, a Ganesha statue, and several statues of Durga, a Nandi statue from eastern Chalukyas, an image of Bhairava, a form of Shiva, and Bhairavi from the Kalingas of Orissa, and Kali statue from the Palas of Bengal. So in 11th century, Chola king, his name was Rajendra I. He has built a Shiva temple in his capital. Now this temple was filled with the prize statue. Prize statue, it means the statues of God, which was being looted from the other kingdom, which was being seized by the Rajendra I. He has defeated the number of kingdom, and as a trophy, what he came back, he came back with the God's statue. So here is the list. You can see the sun pedestal from Chalukyas and the Ganesh statues, and even the statues of Durga, Nandi statues from eastern Chalukyas, Bhairavi's images, Bhairava and Bhairavi's images from Orissa, Kali statue from Palas of Bengal. So this was all the collection he put into his Shiva temple. Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni was contemporary of Rajendra I. During his campaign in the subcontinent, he attacked the temples of defeated kings and looted their wealth and idols. Sultan Muhammad was not a very important ruler at the time, but by destroying temple, especially the one at Somnath, he tried to win credit as a great hero of Islam. In the political culture of Middle Ages, most rulers displayed their political might and military success by attacking, looting the places of worship of defeated rulers. So here the next example was about the Sultan Muhammad of Ghazni. So he was a contemporary of Rajendra I. As the Rajendra I used to loot the temples, the same way Sultan Muhammad Ghazni also loots the wealth and even the idol. So his campaign started where? To the subcontinent. He used to loot or he used to attack the temples which was being already defeated by the other rulers. So once again he loots and also takes the idol from that particular region. So he become more popular for what reason? Because of the attack in Somnath. He has 17 times he has attacked the Somnath. For that he become the most popular ruler in the Islam. So he was considered as great hero. So in the political culture, you can say of the Middle Ages, most rulers displayed their political might and military success by how? By attacking and looting the places of worship of the defeated rulers. In this way, they were showing the power. So next we are having garden, tombs and the forts that we are going to learn in the next video. You can see the figure 9. The Charbagh, the Mughal Charbagh, the Charbagh in Humayun's tomb, Delhi, 1562 to 1571. Terrace Charbagh at Shalimar Garden, Kashmir, 622 and 634. The Charbagh adapted as a riverfront garden at Lal Mahal Bari, 1637. So what do you mean by Charbagh? That we are going to learn in the next video. Till then, stay tuned. Thank you.